And this earned income tax credit, which gives relief to middle and low-earning taxpayers, was also expanded in the stimulus package. But also, continuing unemployment benefit claims have risen to the highest level since February. It's a sign that the Federal Reserve's historic tightening cycle is beginning to buffet the economy. The Labor Department reported continuing claims rising again to 62,000 to 1.7 million just from a year ago. For the longest stretch of the end of the summer, new jobless claims defied expectations and remained low, despite the Federal Reserve's aggressive and historic rate hikes. Since the start of October, though, they have been above 210,000. The Fed has been aggressively jacking up interest rates to tame inflation, but the trade-off is that rising rates, slow demand, can result in a recession. Last month, the central bank, another huge 0.75 percentage point, increased again, or 75 basis point of a rate increase. So it was the fourth such increase in just 5 months, the largest increase in 4 decades. Jerome Powell has also made it clear that the Fed won't even be tightening up its inflation starts until next year. Powell has even stated that the full effects of a rapid tightening so far are yet to be felt. It makes sense to moderate the pace of our rate increases as we approach a level of restraint that will be sufficient to bring inflation down. So the time for moderating the pace of rate increases may come soon as the December meeting comes to a close. But we know, folks, for sure that President Biden must do more for the American people, and sending out stimulus payments is the only thing he has to do. So he must sign this bill into law.
Thank you all for being here, and I apologize for my back when I'm speaking to you. My mother gave me hell for doing that. But Ken, thank you for the introduction.
For the year, according to the agency. Taxpayers have until July 17th to file their 2019 tax return. This reflects the 3-year limitation date as the crisis pushed back the 2019 filing date by 3 months. Under the law, lawmakers and taxpayers generally have years to file and claim their tax refunds. That's if you don't even file a return within 3 years. The money becomes the property of the U.S. Treasury Department. And now, if you reside in the state of New Mexico, keep an eye out on your bank account. The New Mexico governor says that the latest round of rebates will go out mid-June. Thanks to a bill passed by lawmakers during the legislative session, New Mexico people have previously filed taxes and will get another round of rebates. Single tax filers will get $500. Married couples will get more. And taxpayers who use direct deposit when filing their tax returns will get the latest round of rebate checks automatically via direct deposit. If you moved here since 2021, you should update your address online via the Taxation and Revenue Department's Taxpayer Access Point. Now, for everybody in the United States of America, well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the consumer prices climbed 5% in March, down from 6%. The latest inflation reading represents the 9th straight month of easing price growth on an annual basis, and it's down from 9% high last June. But it's still well above the Federal Reserve's 2% target, among the key categories still seeing outsized pace growth, and now it's climbing 8.5% from March 2022 to March 2023, which hit 8.3% growth. As a result, cooling inflation won't really have proved much about solace to consumers in its demand that the Fed is aiming to address by the raising interest rates. Food and rent are among the categories that continue to have the largest price increase. Food prices already climbed 10%. In the same month, rents had their largest one-month increase on record, climbing 8.2%, and rent data is even considering a lagging indicator, meaning surveys are slower to capture real-time changes because most leases are at a 12-month long. We have a ton of good news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SSDI. I'm ready to see what President Biden could do for you folks, and let's see what he could do for the American people. Hopefully he can do what he promised us and send out the fourth stimulus check. Now, first of all, the weather is heating up.
So we've seen a lot of incredible work get done on a federal level, from the Inflation Reduction Act, which we're seeing a lot of its impacts right now, whether it is the historic investments in addressing the climate crisis, in addressing the environmental injustice that many of our communities have lived with, whether it is the historic investments in reducing the cost of medicine for a lot of people, capping insulin at $35, allowing Medicaid to negotiate 10 of the prescription drugs that our seniors rely on, to the CHIPS and Manufacturing Act that is bringing investments to places like Fridley with Commons, where we enjoyed the president actually come and celebrate that investment. Yeah, we can clap for that. To celebrate the incredible investment that's bringing into our community. And
clearly, cooling inflation is a good thing, folks, but it's also clear that inflation is still affecting millions of people. When the jobless levels are high, consumer spending starts to decline, lawmakers can use the stimulus as a way to pump money into the economy, to give it a lift they need it. There's also a possibility of a recession, folks, and financial experts have been warning for one for months. In the case of recession, a stimulus check could come into play. But cooling inflation may be a sign that we're going to be able to avoid a recession. If the pace of inflation continues to slow, Fed Reserve might just pump the brakes again on its aggressive interest rate hikes that could make it so consumers aren't forced to slash their spending drastically. And if spending holds, well, we can possibly avoid an economic slowdown. So whether a recession happens or not, well, lawmakers have already agreed to provide more financial relief. Then now the Michigan residents with public pensions and other specific requirement accounts could soon see new tax breaks, and if this happens, it's good. The House has also approved a competing plan with key differences. The Senate measure passed by a 23-15 vote, with 3 Republicans joining 20 Democrats to support it. The House bill passed 67-41. The idea of just underlying both bills is the heart of the governor's legislative agenda. The Senate measure offers immediate relief to Michigan seniors, and according to seniors, this bill will help people live and work and retire in dignity. And Republicans argue that the bill only helped roughly a third of Michigan seniors, saying that most don't even have the eligible retirement income to work. And I agree. Multiple GOP senators attempted to just amend the Senate version of the bill. They said it's either going to happen or not. The Senate bill restores a tax exemption for public pensions, which was resumed under the 2011 governor, but initially Democrats proposed exemptions for this phase. And if that happens, it doesn't look too good because the school year median for lunch is $2.75. Things are going up and things are increasing. We'll experience a 26% reduction. And those born in the 80s and 90s will receive a 27% reduction. It's preventing insolvency to tax increases. It will require 18% tax roll. And now the Congressional Budget Office says that maintaining Social Security scheduled benefits for the next 75 years would require an immediate increase in Social Security payroll tax from 12 to 17%. This would mean $12,000 in Social Security taxes for the median household that has about $71,000 of income. Adding in Medicare and federal and state income taxes will bring the median household's marginal tax rate to 48%. And the number of Americans filing new claims for unemployment benefits increased less than expected last week, pointing to a still tight labor market, while the economy rebounded faster than previously estimated.
Have countries actually succeeded in using this language to defend their laws protecting consumers or workers